The contentious debate over ancient Egyptian racial identity. The question of the racial identity of the ancient Egyptians is a debate that continues to ignite passions and spark controversy. This discussion is not confined to academic circles. It resonates deeply, influencing national identity, education, and even political discourse. At the heart of this debate lies a fundamental question: were the ancient Egyptians primarily sub-Saharan African, European, or a complex mix of populations? This question is fueled by competing ideologies, each seeking to claim ancient Egypt for its own narrative. The stakes are high as the answer carries significant weight in shaping our understanding of history and its implications for the present. Understanding the nuances of this debate requires a careful examination of the evidence and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. The Afrocentric perspective emphasizes the significant contributions of Black Africans to the development of civilization. Proponents of this view highlight Egypt's geographical location on the African continent as a key factor in understanding its identity. They argue that Egypt's proximity to other African societies led to significant cultural exchange and influence. Furthermore, Afrocentrists often point to the darker skin tones depicted in some ancient Egyptian art as evidence of their African origins. They see ancient Egypt as a foundational civilization that laid the groundwork for subsequent African cultures and societies. This perspective seeks to reclaim Egypt as an integral part of African history and heritage. The Eurocentric perspective, which was more prevalent in earlier scholarship, often downplayed or outright denied African influences on ancient Egypt. This viewpoint emphasized connections between ancient Egypt and European cultures, seeking to place it within a Western historical narrative. Some scholars even attempted to portray the ancient Egyptians as being of European descent. This perspective often minimized the role of African populations in the development of Egyptian civilization. It often ignored or dismissed evidence that suggested African influence. The Eurocentric perspective has been criticized for its biases and its attempts to appropriate ancient Egypt for Western historical narratives. The academic perspective seeks a more nuanced understanding of ancient Egyptian identity, grounded in scientific analysis and critical evaluation of evidence. This approach avoids imposing modern racial categories on the past, recognizing the complexities of ancient populations. It emphasizes the need for careful interpretation of archaeological, genetic, and cultural data. Genetic studies offer valuable insights but are often limited by the degradation of ancient DNA. Current research suggests connections to both the Near East and sub-Saharan Africa, indicating a mixed ancestry. Skeletal analysis, while informative, is also subject to subjective interpretations, making definitive racial classifications difficult. Cultural context, including language, religion, and artistic styles, provides further clues, but these too are open to interpretation. Ancient Egypt was a dynamic society, constantly influenced by cultural exchange and evolution. Understanding these influences is crucial for a comprehensive understanding of its identity. The debate over ancient Egyptian racial identity has a significant impact on national identity, particularly in Egypt itself. Some Egyptians embrace their African heritage, while others emphasize a distinct Egyptian identity rooted in the Nile Valley. This tension reflects the complex history of the region and the ongoing struggle to define national identity. The portrayal of ancient Egypt in education is also a contested issue. There are ongoing debates over the inclusion of Afrocentric perspectives in textbooks and curricula. This reflects the broader struggle to ensure that diverse perspectives are represented in the teaching of history. The debate has also been exploited for political purposes, often used to advance nationalist agendas or challenge existing power structures. This highlights the dangers of politicizing history and the need for a balanced and objective approach. The stakes are high, as the interpretation of the past can have a profound impact on the present. Dr. Molefi Keet Asante, a prominent Afrocentrist scholar, argues strongly for the African origins of Egyptian civilization. He emphasizes its profound influence on subsequent cultures and societies throughout the world. He believes that recognizing Egypt's African roots is essential for understanding its true significance. Dr. Salima Ikram, a renowned Egyptologist, stresses the importance of relying on scientific evidence in understanding ancient Egyptian identity. She cautions against imposing modern racial categories on the past, emphasizing the diverse population of ancient Egypt. She highlights the limitations of modern racial classifications when applied to ancient societies. Ancient Egypt was a melting pot of cultures and populations influenced by its location at the crossroads of Africa, Asia, and the Mediterranean. Acknowledging the African context of ancient Egypt is crucial for understanding its development and its relationship to other African societies. However, reducing it to a single racial identity oversimplifies its complex history. The debate highlights the dangers of imposing modern racial constructs on the past, which can lead to distorted interpretations and the erasure of historical complexities. It is essential to rely on scientific evidence and nuanced interpretations to understand the diverse and fascinating history of ancient Egypt. Understanding the diverse history of ancient Egypt requires a willingness to move beyond simplistic narratives and embrace the complexities of the past. The debate highlights the importance of relying on scientific evidence and nuanced interpretations to understand the diverse and fascinating history of ancient Egypt. It is a reminder that history is not a static narrative, but a dynamic and evolving field of study. By engaging with the evidence in a critical and thoughtful manner, we can gain a deeper understanding of the past and its relevance to the present.